just finish it. I write in 3 languages, but I would love to expand my horizon into Xhosa, Zulu, Sotho.
Okay, so maybe we can...
But the problem with that being that it will be direct translation, people will pick it up. You know, there's subtleties in each language, and I think it's a fantastic opportunity open for different people in different genres that could meet together, talk about, translate, and make what we have on offer to a wider public.
Yes, that's a very good idea. Maybe workshops and so on, we can have workshops, translation workshops, such as Poetry International's workshops. Maybe. Yes.
I'll just speak from behind here, from the voice behind the bookshelf. As you were going through your list of words with trans in them, the 2 words that came to me, one which links with what he's just said is transmission. So about communicating whatever word it is to other people in such a way that the meaning is not lost. Whether it's in English, in Xhosa, in Zulu, in Shona, that the meaning itself is not lost. And then the second word was actually transporting. So taking people's minds. You know, we've got all of this beautiful photography about Victoria, but taking people's minds outside of the realm that they're currently in, whatever that is. So whether it's through the poetry, whether it's through written pieces, to have people move from where they are. I don't know how you would do that. I'm sure people in the room would be able to share their thoughts on how they can transport themselves and transport other people through their work.
Transcend.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. Georgie.
Okay. When you said translation, a poem by Warshan Shire came to mind where she says, lost in translation, when she speaks about the relationship between a daughter and a mother. You know, how adults do not know how to translate themselves properly to the younger generation, and how the younger generation are always completely out of context, you know, trying to understand the mindset of the adult and the child and understand the language, so translating that as well.
There's such a nice, it's not the same, but the way people make sense of the world, is there something like that? Yes. Like a poem by Cummings, Maggie and Millie and Molly and May went down to the beach to play one day. Maggie discovered a shell that sang so sweetly she couldn't remember her troubles. And Millie befriended a stranded star whose 5 ways languid fingers were. May came home with a smooth round stone, as small as the world and as large as alone. For whatever we lose, like you or me, it is always ourselves we find in the sea.
The trans word that occurred to me was transgression, so that when people use other languages, it does tend to be quite purposeful, and sometimes it's a lot about exclusion, and then these people who translate are almost like carrying something illegal across the border. So I quite like that image of translation as smuggling almost.
It's very, very nice.
2 issues that's currently on the scene. One that I feel that is neglected, protest for problems. Look at the ETOL thing. Whenever there's something that one wants to protest about, poetry in protest is a powerful tool. And one is always looking for some place to hang it on and to make people aware that the guys who pronounce themselves better through words are disgusted with the process it goes. The other thing is green poetry. It seems there's a lot of people who are writing stuff about the nature of mountains, etc. You know, that's something we commonly share, and it's a different angle that one looks at it, and it also should be promoted. I don't know whether anything is happening here at Capital Letter with regards to that. But protest firms, I feel very strongly about
we
that.
can think of, definitely think of that. Okay, I think that's, thank you for the contributions. Anything else on the subject? Vangi?
I like that just the word trans, actually. Trans is, you know, like
the thick one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Trance, like trance dance.
Different dimension.
Different states, states of being.
And also, the creative editor, Samke Lewis, said something about transnational, maybe all the expats living abroad or people living abroad, maybe, can you fill me up on that? Maybe just, no. Yeah. Okay, anything else?
Sorry, I just want to address the protest poetry and asking whether Capital Letter is doing anything about it. At Capital Letter, there's no discrimination of any type of poetry. As long as it is artistic, it's poetry, it's about the love of poetry. And of course you get, like you said, protest poetry. It is a type of poetry. It is a way of addressing the issues of the world through the word. And so there's nothing to say that we cannot go into it. It's just a matter of somebody presenting it. And I mean, if anybody wants to come up and say their poet, we've got the open mic sessions, we've got the featured poets. There's absolutely nothing to stop anybody from coming up and speaking their mind. Poetry is not about being inhibited.
Yeah. There was something that you said that made me think about direct translation. And I found certain elements of directly translating something from Setswana, for example, to English that makes it a very nice idiom to say. For example, like saying, I found out from the Bush of the Rose, which means I heard a rumor, which is like saying that you can be great. In Setswana or in Africa, you would say, "Kukwela ka Pidiatsi," meaning, I heard from the Bush of the Rose, that you should. And I've seen this style being used by a lot of African writers who write in English. I think Ngugi is one of the people that do it quite a lot, where he writes English in Kikuyu. He doesn't really write English, it's just Kikuyu. Just spoken through English, or as English as a medium of speaking. And there was the translation that Natalia asked for when she said, which also I think was,
Made us people.
yeah, you have made us people, but I suppose
Sorry, could you speak up a bit? People in the back can't hear.
yeah, okay. So I suppose you would say that it is a process of being humanized, which is also another concept that I dealt with when I was studying Ubuntu and the process of humanization and how you directly translate the concept of Ubuntu into a Western language, which is hard to do. It's really because it's not really humanism, because humanism is another philosophical thing altogether. And Ubuntu is almost,
Maybe almost the language, you must understand the language.
yeah,
to grasp the,
it's very essential to the language. It's very essential to the being of a person who speaks that language or who practices that way of living. Yeah, it's a part of life and a philosophy. So yeah, those are some of the thoughts that came into my head.
almost sound Heideggerian with the being and getting into the being and the end of Western metaphysics.
Yeah, almost existential, but super existential maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. If you have any ideas on this subject, please talk to me during the interval or email me guillotinemagazine@gmail.com. And thank you very much, Capital Letters, for this, for the partnership and for everything.